around bragging that he and his boys are in demand. Sorry, bro. Nobody in that group is ever going to be in demand. Nobody in that group is ever going to fucking put an ass in a seat. Nobody in that group is ever going to fucking shoot the ratings up where they need to be. And nobody gives a shit about the national championship. Any questions? This company is a fucking mess. This company is a mess. Okada and Pac, Kevin Knight and Kyle Fletcher, Jon Moxley and Claudio. AEW centered their show around pro wrestling and barely any story. On top of that, Samoa Joe is defending the AEW World Championship against Eddie Kingston next week at Winter is Coming. What did Eddie Kingston do to deserve a World Championship match? Do we need a World Championship match next week? Oh, but JD, he beat Shibata on Collision. I didn't know beating Shibata nets won a World Championship. It's news to me. Before that, the guy was teaming with Hook. Before that, the guy was on the fucking pre-show for Full Gear Wrestling, JD Drake and Anthony Henry. Who? Exactly. Yet Eddie Kingston's in a World Championship match. Do you know how laughable that is? But he's Eddie Kingston, JD. I don't give a fuck who he is. He's done nothing. Nothing. On top of that, did they send Hook out there with the microphone this week to cover why he turned his back on Eddie Kingston and why he joined the Ops again? No, they didn't do anything close to that. They just put Shibata and Hook and Will Hobbs in a match against the fucking Dark Order. The Dark Order wrestled on Dynamite the 3rd of December, 2025. So what that means is, chat, being that the Dark Order was on this show, Evil Uno and fucking the rest of them out there, that means that AEW Fight Forever had absolutely zero people online playing its game. The only 3 people that are playing the game are all the members of the Dark Order. This show sucks. This company sucks. Week by week, it is breaking everybody's mental state. The sheer stupidity of the booking, the absolutely non-existent story, and the ice-cold feeling that we're getting going into the winter. Winter is certainly coming because the fucking company hasn't been as cold as this ever. So the name is appropriate. I could really just end the stream right there. Oh, with that Hook situation, by the way, they saved it for a 2.5-minute clip on YouTube. I seen some people online. Oh man, this was a great sit down with Alicia Toot. 2.5 minutes. You could not wrap your brain around the production of this show and the format of this show to include this into the actual broadcast. I got to go out of my way to go watch it on YouTube when you can simply splice it into the fucking show. Like anybody's going to give a shit about what Hook has to say on YouTube. The video is going to do what? 25 to 30,000 views on YouTube? Nobody gives a shit. This podcast will do more views than the fucking Hook sit down with Alicia Toot. I don't know why they just couldn't have this kid go out there with a fucking microphone and explain to us and give us some fucking story about why he did what he did and where they're going. Don't even get me started on the women. Don't even get me started on the women. AEW sent Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa, Megan Bayne, and Marina Shafir in a semifinal women's tag team title tournament match and made it a holiday hardcore match. Bro, Christmas isn't for another 3 weeks. What holidays are we celebrating? This is AEW's version of basically going to Target well before Halloween and you're already hearing fucking Christmas music. Shut the fuck up. I want to shop in peace without hearing fucking Mariah Carey. Because there's no human male alive that's going to sit there and listen to fucking Mariah Carey, Will Washington, you fucking pussy. Give me a fucking break. Him, this company, and the fucking creative team are utter dog shit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Canadian Dentist Podcast. I have joining me today Dr. James Younger, who you probably will know from the company Tempstars. James is the founder of
Candy cane kendo sticks wrapped in barbed wire. Tables wrapped in gift wrap. Glass. Santa Claus delivering presents. Man, that TNA AMC deal is looking better and better every time I think about it. Guys, we're going to go over this show in the best way that we know how. Not a good night for AEW. Not a good night for AEW. This is your AEW Dynamite post show right here on Off the Script. For your Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. I want to thank everybody that reached out to me, man. I tried to retweet as many of you as I could today. I want to thank all the support, not only for the Spotify Wrapped and those who have made Off the Scripts your top listening podcast priority on Spotify, but on YouTube. I've seen a lot of people's YouTube Wrapped. And I've seen a lot of JD from NY as your guys' #1 channels. And as far as wrestling content, I've seen a lot of familiar names, man. I was bundled in there with the Chris Van Vliets and the Jim Cornettes. And obviously, the Solomonsters of the world. And I really appreciate all the support, man. You guys have really made this an unbelievable thing. And I'm looking to really kind of change the game in 2026. I want to make next year the best year ever for us. I want to be everywhere. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed on a couple of things that I'm kind of in the middle of. And next year, without a doubt, and I'm going to need everybody's help on it, without a doubt, we're going to get Dave LaGreca's attention. We're going to get him, sit him down, talk business, and we're going to be on Sirius. We're going to be on Busted Open. That's the goal. I don't give a fuck how it happens. I don't give a shit what we got to do. I don't give a shit who I got to talk to. It's going to happen. So thank you guys very much for that. And I hope to have some really exciting news, hopefully. There are potential opportunities out there. And I hope I get a chance to talk about them with you very soon. On the music side of things, my Spotify Wrapped was not surprising. Stryker was my #1 band this year, as obviously, as you guys know, Circle of Evil and Best of the Best of the Best have been in heavy rotation not only for my personal Spotify, but on this podcast every single night. Great song. It's the unofficial theme of the podcast. Trivium, Mammoth, Wolfgang Van Halen, Warbringer. A lot of great songs on my Spotify. And then today, Alter Bridge released their third single from their new album, their new self-titled album coming out in January. Playing Aces. Quintessential Alter Bridge, man. The guitar tone on this album is fucking killer. Maybe the best guitar tone that they've ever had. Miles' lyrics, Miles' pre-chorus, the chorus of the song, Tremonti solo, man, it's just signature Alter Bridge. They don't try to do anything too technical. They don't try to be different. It's just straight up good rock. So go and check that out. Actually commented on their music video today. #1 comment on there from yours truly. So always like to be in the Alter Bridge realm. So go check that out. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. If you guys missed any of the content on the channel, there is plenty of it. We were live for Raw. Big night on Raw. Survivor Series on Saturday. That was a big night. We are nearing 66,000 views on that one. Almost 3,000 likes. You guys killed it on Saturday night. Raw was easily over 30. Tuesday Night Titans is well over 30 with a 52-minute watch time as of right now. So thank you guys very much for that. Great discussion last night. We really got into it as far as the breakdown of Survivor Series and the report of Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes 3 at WrestleMania 42. I don't have any interest in that at all. So go over there and check that out, all on the homepage. Tonight we're live. Friday night we'll be live. Friday we're sponsored by Turtle Beach, right in time for the holidays. So Friday night they'll be with me on the stream. The finals of the Last Time Is Now tournament between Gunther and LA Knight. LA Knight, thanks for coming. Gunther is going to Washington, D.C. to wrestle John Cena on December 13th. Maybe there'll be some NXT talent on the show. So we'll see what happens on Friday. Should be a good stream. That's what you guys got to look forward to for the remainder of the week. Super chats are open. Get them on in. It's the best way to support the show. As always, hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 750 likes tonight on the AEW Dynamite stream. And tonight, we're sponsored by Blue Chew. I wish AEW would get excited and pop a fucking Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. Code JD at checkout. All you guys got to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling.
If you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls. And President Trump responded, says Fox News polls can't be trusted. So now, Newsmax is conducting its own poll on President Trump's job performance. It takes just a minute to vote, so let us know if you think President Trump is doing a good job. We at Newsmax want to know your opinion. Again, the QR code's there, as well as the website. Make your voice heard and vote today. A brand new hour of National Report kicks off right now.
Oh, man, where do we begin? Where do we begin? First of all, let me turn on my fan. The heat's pumping in here, man. It's fucking cold outside. It really is cold outside. I went to go grab the mail before because I forgot to grab the mail earlier today. It's fucking freezing outside. Anyway, we got a Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston face-to-face here as we start things off with Tony Schiavone in the ring. The less I see of Schiavone, the better this show gets. He is just fucking awful. In every sense of the word, he's awful. So Joe did the right thing. He immediately told Schiavone to get out of the ring before he snatches the wig off of his head. Joe bets Kingston is filled with questions that need answering. Like why he's not out there in a three-piece suit. Once he landed in his private jet, he realized wearing a suit in Indiana is like wearing a tuxedo to a petting zoo, and fans are too stupid to realize they're in the presence of greatness. Is Samoa Joe landing in his private jet? Or is he taking a flight on Tony Khan's private jet? I don't know if either one of those things is true. The first one is certainly not true. The second one may be true, but I think Joe is flying economy to Fishers, Indiana. He also said, why Hook and why Kingston? Hook grew up with a championship legacy, and Joe wanted him to have a complete education, so he wanted Hook to spend time on the other side of the table where Kingston sat. I got the Hook interview with Alicia Atout all queued up. We're going to listen to Hook's explanation. We're going to do like a mini watch along here. We'll fake react to it. How about that? That'll give some excitement to the stream where otherwise this show sucks. We'll fake react to it. How about that? Kingston has never gotten it done nor crossed the finish line. The last question is, what is going to happen next week at Winter is Coming? Kingston will fight his ass off and bring everything to the table to capture the title, but he'll fail like every other time. Joe told Kingston to have the consolation knowing Joe choked him out. So we didn't really get anything as far as Samoa Joe saying anything here. We got no explanation on why Hook was with Kingston and then why he ended up back in the ops. He basically threw a bunch of questions that he thought Eddie Kingston was going to ask and went over how he's not going to answer any of them. Doesn't really make for a good promo. Kingston finally is able to speak here. He says he couldn't get over the fact that Samoa Joe, someone who once saved the independents with one of his greatest title reigns in history, feuding with his friend Homicide, his mentor, and he's talking about private jets. Everyone in the back talks about Kingston being a hothead, but he gets shit done when he says he will. He went on to say why he yells. People ask him why he yells to get his point across, because he says when he does, he gets shit done. Kind of sounds like me. Well, JD, why are you always so angry? JD, why are you always yelling? Why are you yelling on a pro wrestling podcast? It's only pro wrestling, JD. Well, if I spoke like this, and I went over why Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston had a face-to-face on Dynamite, and how I was super duper excited about their Winter is Coming, AEW prestigious, fantastic, emotional AEW World Championship match, and I think it's going to be a low-key banger, man. I can't wait to get a job and land the job with Tony Khan. Nobody would fucking listen to me. Who wants to listen to that? There are plenty of other shows that do that and act like, oh, man, I can't believe it. Look at that. Oh, man. And then fucking quickly edit it for TikTok and then try and pretend like they're actual content creators. Oh my God, I can't wait for Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston. I can't. Tony Khan is such a savior of pro wrestling. This is so great, man. Don't you guys in chat? Don't you guys enjoy AEW Dynamite? Don't you think it's great? The Continental Classic, I look forward to it every year, man. This is where the best wrestle. Who listens to that? Who wants to listen to that? Honestly. Yes. Eddie Kingston knows how to get shit done. It doesn't matter if he yells or not. I'm right there with him. The Joe in front of him isn't the Joe he respects. The one he respects is who ran through the entire world to show what it's like to be a heavyweight champion. Joe is becoming what he hated all those years ago. Kingston said he knows the fans are here to see wrestling and he wants to go back to the hotel to go to sleep. So he's not going to waste too much more of their time. Thank you, Eddie Kingston, for telling us that you also think the show is boring. He's not even in the mindset to sit backstage and actually watch the show. He wants to get done with this segment, go back to the hotel room, and go right to sleep. He even thinks Dynamite is fucking boring. So what that means, if Joe doesn't bring the Samoan submission machine, the Joe who was Kingston's mentor for years, then he'll eat Joe alive at Winter is Coming. Kingston left. Joe was annoyed. And that was basically the end of the segment.
When you have the smartest Wi-Fi from Xfinity, you can seamlessly stream WWE,
It's about to start!
making your home the main event.
WWE.
Welcome to SmackDown!
Xfinity. Imagine that.
This is AEW's tried and true. When they got a world championship match that doesn't really make any sense, and they need to fill the card with something because they have one of their themed shows, they usually center the story for the week or two going into said title match with, you used to be different and now you're a sellout. You're here talking about private jets and three-piece suits. You're not the same guy that I remember 15 years ago. Of course he's not. Why would he be? Eddie Kingston does not belong in the world championship title picture. The guy has not done anything to make me see Eddie Kingston in a world championship title feud. He was hanging around the fucking pre-show with Big Boom AJ and the rest of the fucking scrubs on the roster. He was legitimately on the Full Gear pre-show. He wrestled in 2 minutes and beat the Work Horseman with Hook. So we got Eddie Kingston, who last week basically said verbatim, oh, I don't want to talk about Hook right now. I can't talk about that right now. Do you understand what you're watching? AEW does things backwards. Not like in a Quentin Tarantino way. They do things backwards, and it's fucking absolutely retarded. We should have got Hook's explanation. We should have got Hook explaining why he left Eddie Kingston, why he used Eddie Kingston, why he teamed with Eddie Kingston, why he joined the Ops. Before we even got an explanation from Hook, we got this match made for Winter is Coming next week with no explanation of Hook and why he did what he did, and no sign of Hook explaining to us from himself why he did what he did. We should go right into the title match. Don't you think Eddie Kingston should wrestle Hook for betraying him first before we start moving on to Eddie Kingston and Samoa Joe? So what's going to happen at Winter is Coming? Samoa Joe's going to win. Hook is probably going to help Samoa Joe win. Then we'll get Eddie Kingston for his Hook at World's End. Is that where we're going? What exactly is the World Championship match going to be at World's End? Are we running Eddie Kingston back again at World's End? Or is it going to be a mixture of Swerve and Hangman Page against Samoa Joe and Hook? What is it going to be? This felt like, if I could use an analogy, this felt like Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston going out to a fancy dinner and they didn't get to the main course. They barely ordered their alcoholic beverages. The waiter comes over and asks both of them, gentlemen, what would you like to drink this evening? They placed their order, and that was it. The promo didn't even get going. Like, this was basically as safe of a promo as you could possibly have these guys go out there and cut. Samoa Joe said nothing. He basically went over all the questions Eddie Kingston was going to ask, And Eddie Kingston goes right to the, oh, you're not the same Joe. I want to see that same Joe. This is basically Adam Page and Kyle Fletcher. Is basically what it is. Verbatim, same thing. I want to see the Kyle Fletcher that I know show up without the Don Callis family, and I want to wrestle you one-on-one, pal. It's basically what Eddie Kingston said here. I don't want to see that Samoa Joe. I want to see the Samoa Joe that had the greatest Ring of Honor World Championship reign of all time, and the mentor Samoa Joe, the one that trained me. That's the Joe I want to see. The Samoan submission machine. Like I said, they're tried and true. It is the only game that they know. That's how they build world championship matches. I love Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston is one of the rare talents in the entire industry that when he speaks, you listen. But this did nothing. The promo on Collision, which I did watch, I seen it on Twitter. That promo from Eddie was fucking great. Still not the type of shit that he is accustomed to cutting, which is borderline just fucking fantastic. But this was a very weak opening segment. It almost accomplished nothing. And Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston is happening next week for the AEW World Championship. Is Eddie Kingston going to be in the title picture for 1 week? Are we going to run it back at World's End? Or Samoa Joe and Hook teaming up at World's End? Maybe we get a trios match. Maybe we get Hobbs, Hook, and Joe versus Kingston, Hangman, and Swerve. Because I can't see a World Championship match coming into frame for World's End after this. If he takes care of Eddie Kingston, who's next? So they may very well run back Eddie Kingston, being that they don't have anybody else. Or maybe it'll be Hangman again. And then maybe we'll see MJF, who is absolutely desperately needed. The Ops are backstage. Hook said Joe handled business tonight. Come next week, he'll finish Kingston off. Hobbs says there's business to take care of tonight, so they'll sprinkle some holiday cheer. Last night on Ring of Honor, a trios team impressed them. Wow. Well, that's 3 of the 13 people that actually watched Ring of Honor last night. I think the rest of the people that watched are employed by Fightful.
Pluto TV. Live TV and free movies. Download today and get started.
You know, I really don't have regrets. I am a person.
A trio impressed them. The Dork Order. If they can survive tonight against the Ops, they'll get a trios title match against the Ops. Hook says they know the Dork Order are Hangman's good friends, so they'll have fun out there with them tonight and then call them light work. So what exactly was Hook's explanation? Let's see if we can get this here. This is from AEW's YouTube channel. This is Alicia Atut sitting down with Hook as Hook explains the Ops' grand strategy of why he did what he did at Full Gear. Let's see what Hook has to say here. Or Samoa Joe and Hook teaming up at World's End. Maybe we get a trios match. Maybe we get Hobbs, Hook, and Joe versus Kingston, Hangman, and Swerve. Because I can't see a World Championship match coming into frame for World's End after this. If he takes care of Eddie Kingston, who's next? So they may very well run back Eddie Kingston, being that they don't have anybody else. Or maybe it'll be Hangman again. And then maybe we'll see MJF, who is absolutely desperately needed. The Ops are backstage. Hook said Joe handled business tonight. Come next week, he'll finish Kingston off. Hobbs says there's business to take care of tonight, so they'll sprinkle some holiday cheer. Last night on Ring of Honor, a trios team impressed them. Wow. Well, that's 3 of the 13 people that actually watched Ring of Honor last night. I think the rest of the people that watched are employed by Fightful. A trio impressed them. The Dork Order. If they can survive tonight against the Ops, they'll get a trios title match against the Ops. Hook says they know the Dork Order are Hangman's good friends, so they'll have fun out there with them tonight and then call them light work. So what exactly was Hook's explanation? Let's see if we can get this here. This is from AEW's YouTube channel. This is Alicia Atut sitting down with Hook as Hook explains the Ops' grand strategy of why he did what he did at Full Gear. Let's see what Hook has to say here.
Hook, thank you so much for allowing us into your home here.
Actually, wait a minute. Let me shut this off. Sorry. Amateur streamer over here.
Hook, thank
There
you
you
so
go.
much for allowing us into your home here in New York City.
What do you want to ask me?
Yeah, what do you want to ask me?
AEW Full Gear. That is the night that we saw you not only betray Eddie Kingston, but you also cost Hangman Adam Page the title. Why?
Why? Well, see, it's been the plan for months to get Joe the world title. Thing is, I really never left the Ops. And you can look back at Double or Nothing. I didn't hit Joe with that golf club, did I?
No, you didn't.
And Hangman, this guy's a mess. This guy, Hangman, doesn't know who he is. And that makes him weak. Joe, he knows exactly who and what he is. A killer and a champion. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't betray Eddie at all. I just used him as a pawn to get a little bit closer to Hangman.
So all of this was to just prove your loyalty to the Ops.
100%.
Oh, man!
I mean, Hobbs is like my big brother. Shibata, he's been a great friend, coach, mentor. And Joe's like my uncle from a young age. I mean, the
Yeah, how
Ops
you doing?
are my family.
Let me get this straight. You're telling me that while you were on your couch being replaced by Powerhouse Hobbs, a man much bigger, much stronger than you, that didn't bother you at all?
Placed by Powerhouse Hobbs, huh? You realize I'm the one who made that call, right?
Well, Hook's a genius!
See, I'm out hurt. What do? I call up my brothers. It's about winning. And the Ops are drowning in gold right now.
Drowning in gold!
You're talking about your family in the Ops right now, but I want to switch it to the fans. They're really disappointed in you, Hook. Do you
They're
have
so
anything to say?
disappointed in Hook!
Yeah, I got something to say. I could care less what these narps talk about.
He don't care. He called us marks.
See, I'm
Oh,
not like
man!
other dudes in this game. I'm one of one. All these people, they need to try and be like me. Problem is, they can't. They lack confidence and they lack talent. So they want the easy route. And it's real easy to sit around and try to talk about the greatest second-generation wrestler of all time.
He's the greatest second-generation
So I've been real
wrestler ever.
generous with my time here. Now do me a favor and get the hell out of my penthouse.
Yeah, get out of here, toots! Oh, man. Listen. First of all, that noise gate is a little too loud there, AEW production. What the fuck is that? What was that? Did you guys see? Every time he didn't speak, there was like this fucking static. That you gotta fix that, bro. Listen, I know all of us are not perfect. Sometimes mistakes are made, but man, that noise gate was a little too extreme over there, man. You gotta fix that. I don't know. I don't know why that couldn't air on Dynamite. Or why he couldn't have said that last week. Why he couldn't have said that this week. Why he couldn't have been out there with Samoa Joe and explained that to Eddie Kingston, which would have gave the promo that much more heat. I don't really understand that. They don't know how to format a show. Yes, Alicia sounded terrible there. You guys got to go and watch it. Even her body language was fucking completely unnatural.
Father God, help me know, oh God. You want me to see him. I know how much job in the Father God. I know how much job in your serve. Open up the way for me now, man. Full time now, Father God. You're going to make me go team. You're going to make me go team, oh God. Almighty Jesus.
Father, won't you stretch your hand? I've been waiting by the water. I know you said you made some plans to save some time for me. Quiet songs and lullabies kept you busy over water. Don't care where you spend your time.